the question is it a good time to buy a house in Tampa Bay? Now, I always say this to everyone. There's never a great and there's never a bad time for anything, right? Yeah, there could be a majority, but it's what is good for you at this moment. Now, you look at COVID, for instance, and it was prices were going through the roof, right? And people were double, triple, it was paying out of pocket for appraisals. It was nuts, right? But it might have been a great time for some people to buy. They were getting low interest rates, and if their timing was correct, and if they got it at a low price point, if they held on to it for X amount of years. So it's like right now, this might be a horrible time for you to buy because you can't buy and you got a better rental situation. So we have to look at the pros and cons. But if we're looking at it like as an average, market, there is so much inventory. There's so many deals to be made. Builders are offering crazy incentives. So if you're looking at it as like, let's say you're a first-time home buyer and you're like, is it a good time to buy right now? Well, compared to 2 years ago, absolutely. And let me explain. I call them the prairie dog agents. They're the prairie dog agents. They pop their heads out. Prairie dog agents were like 2-3 years ago. You had these agents, and they were like, "It's the best time to buy. It's the best time to buy." Everyone that got their license, right? Because they're trying to act like they know what they're talking about. It's the best time to buy. And then what happened? I can't tell you how many people I met that bought 2 years ago. That, let's just say, for instance, they bought a house for $400,000. Those homes are now going for $350,000. So those people, if they need to sell or they're in a situation they have to sell, are underwater. Are we seeing short sales a lot coming? Yes, we are, right? So everyone is always trying to tell you what's best for you, right? And it's not what's best for you. It's what's best for that agent's pockets, right? So what made that market so amazing? Why was it so good? Because I never, ever have done something where it's like, you have to do this. I always say there's pros and cons to everything. So let's take my situation as if I'm a buyer in this market, okay? So I'm going to, do this for you. Okay, so in Hillsborough County, I'm looking at everything right now in the last 60 days. And in the last 60 days, there has been 1,625 homes that have come off the market, whether they were canceled, withdrawn. I'm even going to take conditional off, right? What withdrawn, expired. I mean, look at that. That's telling you that these sellers are having a hard time to sell homes, right? So over 1,000 homes in the last 60 days. Okay, well, I want to look at how many are active right now. There's so many homes that are active, 5,000 plus, that I can't even give me a number. That means we are full of inventory. All right, is a lot of that inventory pending? 2,657. We don't know how many are active. So is it a lot? No, not really, right? Things are still selling. That means things are still selling. Things are still active. There's properties are selling. Properties will always sell. But so much is coming off the market. So what that tells me as a buyer is that there's deals to be made. Now, some people might be underwater, so they really can't, play with their numbers too much. But there's a lot of people that can. And again, the builders are offering so much incentives. We're seeing, if you ever want to follow the market, follow the builders. Right now, we just put a deal together where our client got all their money towards closing costs, extra money to get their rate to be brought down, right? It's buying down the rate. And they gave a bonus to the agent, which was a 5% commission. You're not seeing that in a super healthy market where everyone's buying everything. You're seeing that when the builders feel pressured where they have to sell. They have to do some sort of incentives. So as a buyer in this market, you have amazing incentives for you. Now, you have to remember one thing before I move forward, is that there's different markets within areas. So you can have a Hillsborough County, but you could be looking at one specific area or one, little school district, and that could be a super hot market. And it won't be touched by anything else. Like, it could still be like a very desirable place to live with low inventory, if not none. So if a house does pop on the market, it sells right away. You can't take that into consideration, because if you're looking at just a single dot to be like, I can only live in this vicinity with that school, that might not tell you the whole story. But when you look at something as like a big, hey, look at this whole county in general, or look at these 5 zip codes over here, 6 zip codes, it's going to tell you a story. And what we're seeing right now is, if you're looking for deals in the market we're in now, no, you're never going to get the prices you got in 2018. That's probably never going to happen again. But if you're looking for a deal right now, where you want incentives and you want to do what's best for you, saving money out of pocket, yeah, it's phenomenal in that sense, right? Then you ask the question, well, what happens if I wait? Is the market is next year going to even be better where I shouldn't have bought this year? That's the problem. Nobody knows that. And this is why, as an agent, you should never be saying you have to buy now. You only should be buying now. Because right now, as we speak, there's definitely deals to be made. Right? Definitely deals to be made. You see, I don't edit anything. I just go right with it. But we don't know what's going to happen next year, right? We don't know what's going to happen. But right now, if you can afford the house to where it's at now, and you can take those incentives and save all this money and get a really good rate, then there you go. It all comes down to your situation now. Like, for instance, if you have a house right now and you at a 2.5%, 3% interest rate and you're debating on selling it to buy something else, why? Why would you do that for, right? You're already in a phenomenal situation. Well, you might say, I have to move or I have to downsize or whatever the case may be. First, we're going to figure out if you can keep that as an investment property. I always say that's number one. But if you have to sell that, you're never going to get that situation again. I can tell you that much. So for those buyers, you're never going to get the situation that you're leaving from. So, that's why I'm saying there's so many different, variables to play. And that's why I want to do these videos all the time, because people are always asking, like, is this a good time to buy? Well, maybe. For you, yeah, it might be a great time to buy, but for that person, it might not. So, like, I'll give you an example. I know somebody right now that's renting a house, and their rent is $1,500. Why would they buy? They're paying $1,500. They're saving all this money every month. With the house they would get, even if they put the minimal amount down, their mortgage would be like $3,200. And no, it's not instant equity. I'm going to be doing videos of that, or they're not building all this amazing wealth. Well, that's only if the market goes up, because remember, your mortgage payments really just go towards interest anyway. So we're going to be talking a lot about different things in these education videos and whatnot. And every time I do a video is like, is it the best time to do something now? I'm going to just tell you the same thing. Yes and no, depending on your situation, but this is what the market's calling for. Like right now, is it a great time to be a seller? I mean, you got to put a lot of carrots out there and you got to put a lot of incentives to sell your house, right? So, a couple years ago, you definitely made more money. But is it a good time to sell now? I mean, if you're still making great, profits from what you had, yeah. But if you're at a point where your profits aren't that good and you have to pay more in incentives and closing costs and everything else, it might not be. So that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think anyone should be doing these videos to just give you one answer. I know this is a long video. Hope you like it. I hope that kind of answers some questions. I do a lot of blogs and I write a lot of stuff up on the blogs, and you can read on the blogs about like all these questions. But we have so many videos coming out. I hope you guys follow us. Keep following me. If you want to learn anything, let me know. If you have any questions, let me know. And then we'll go from there. Talk to you soon.